Good morning, everybody. You are what? Good afternoon, everybody. You are watching the Patriot Preaches. My name is Ashwant Achari. Today is August 4th, 2025. I'm a little late. I'm actually really late. It's actually 3 o'clock. I'm doing the show in the afternoon. So this is going to be a new thing, actually. I'm going to be doing the show later on in the day because I'm going to have school. And when you got school, you can't wake up early and do the show. Shit, my camera. Okay. Yeah, I have a new light in front of me. Because I remember I was watching my shows and when I would lean in, there was a really bad shadow. So I got another light. So there's a light here, here, lighting the green screen. So it's all around. So I hope that makes me more watchable. I hope I'm more illuminated. You know, like illumination. You know, like when the Minion movie comes, like illumination. All right, no, that's not funny. Okay. Anyways, today we're gonna be talking about Netanyahu's plan to fully occupy Gaza. Right. And before we get into the story, we're going to be also be talking about the Israeli ground raids in Syria as well. We'll probably get into other stuff if there's anything else that develops. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be getting the banner set up, right? I'm going in for my... Oh shit, I was making sure my mic was on. Going to be going in for a LinkedIn photo shoot. Going to be getting that set up. The TikTok clips will be coming. I'm going to be clip farming. I'm going to be more controversial. I'm going to be more exuberant. I'm going to be super flamboyant in the coming weeks. Because I've got to push the brand. Got to push the brand. I mean, I was talking to Ibrahim, right? And the reason why I was late, I was talking to Ibrahim at Aqua for like, 3 hours, dude. You know, just catching up with him. And, bro, trust me, that guy's funny, bro. That's a funny ass guy. It's a funny ass guy. If anything, if you think I'm funny, no, that guy is on another level. I'm telling you. But honestly, we're gonna be getting into the show now. Drop a like, subscribe, because this is free. I'm not asking you to pay me any money. I'm just asking you to watch if you want. And that's if you want. So I mean, while you're here, just drop a like, subscribe. Get me. Let's get to 200. Let's get to 200, right? If we can get to 200, I'll do a special video for you guys. Anyways, today we're gonna be getting into Netanyahu's plans for full Israeli occupation of the Gaza Strip. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered to set the full Israeli military occupation of the Gaza Strip, right? And the military has previously pushed back against plans for a full occupation, but Netanyahu's message to the IDF Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir is that if he doesn't like it, he should quit. There will be operations even in areas where hostages are being held. If the IDF staff doesn't agree, he should resign, the Israeli official said. And Netanyahu is set to convene his cabinet on Tuesday, where he will seek approval for the planned escalation. The Israeli military currently controls about 75% of Gaza, and under the new plan, it will work to capture the remaining territory to bring the entire strip under Israeli control. Israeli reports from last week said that Netanyahu was planning to propose a plan to start annexing the territory in Gaza, working from the outside in, working from the buffer zones, and inside, slowly taking control. And the Israeli media reports on Monday did not say that what would become of the Palestinian civilians living in the areas currently not occupied by Israel. And the officials previously announced a plan to build a concentration camp in tiny areas of southern Gaza during the lower parts of Gaza where the humanitarian aids are based, right? So the aid stations are based primarily in the middle and in the southern parts, but there's nothing in the northern parts, right? So people who are living, the Palestinians and Gazans who are starving, living in the northern areas, have to make a long 4-hour trek just to get to the middle site. And if food runs out at the middle site, they're gonna have to make an even longer trek. Probably gonna be about like 8 hours. So these starving kids and children and women are gonna be having to walk all the way down just to get even a scrap of food, if there is any left by the time that they get there. And it's set up, these humanitarian aid sites are set up so that the children and the women have to cross war zones. They have to cross zones where there's gunfire, where there's violence, and it's not safe. So it's set up that the IDF has the ability, and they can kill children on accident, women on accident. and they could claim that it was an accident when it really is just set up just to kill them because it's a genocide. Netanyahu and his government have made clear that their ultimate goal is the removal of the Palestinian population in Gaza, which they now call the Trump Plan. But so far, there's been no indication of any regional countries that are willing to take in a sizable amount of Palestinians to facilitate the ethnic cleansing. And the Trump administration has shown no interest in pursuing and pressuring Israel to end its genocidal war and reach a deal with Hamas, because Hamas wants a permanent ceasefire, while Israel and the United States only want a temporary ceasefire because they want to break it and they want to follow through with Benjamin Netanyahu's ethnic cleansing regime. And the U.S. could do by leveraging military aid, while Israel's officials are now claiming Hamas doesn't want a deal. The group has long said it's willing to release all remaining Israeli captives in exchange for a permanent ceasefire. Right, and Hamas is ready to free all Israeli hostages for a permanent ceasefire, right? Israel has a long-standing rejection of this kind of deal, and that's why Hamas recently proposed it could release 5 hostages to renew a temporary ceasefire. However, Hamas also wanted a guarantee that Israel would commit to entering negotiations on reaching a permanent truce, like I said before, which Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has refused to do so. Israel countered Hamas's offer with a proposal for Hamas to release 11 hostages that didn't include any commitment to hold talks on a permanent ceasefire. The senior Palestinian official speaking to the Times said that after the Israeli counter-proposal, negotiations are at a standstill. Quote, "The number of hostages is not the issue. If Israel demonstrates its intention to reach a permanent ceasefire, Hamas is prepared to release all of its hostages," the Palestinian official said. Israel only wants a partial agreement so that it can continue fighting. It wants Hamas to give up all the hostages without entering the second phase. Under the ceasefire deal signed in January, the second phase would have involved a permanent truce and full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza and release from the buffer zones. But Netanyahu refused to enter talks on the second phase and violated the agreement in multiple ways before restarting the genocidal war on March 18th. And if we can recall, Israel blocks all aid entering Gaza and ramps up attacks, which broke the deal, right? And this was the first phase of the ceasefire when the deal expired, and this happened around March, right? At the beginning of March. Right? And the U.S. actually backed Israel's decision to cut off aid to the civilian population in Gaza, right? And this was a move that came after the U.S. Department announced that it was expediting the delivery of $4 billion in military aid to Israel. Right, White House National Security Council spokesman Brian Hughes told Axios reporter that he will, quote, support Israel's decision on next steps given Hamas has indicated it's no longer interested in a negotiated ceasefire. He has also claimed that Israel has been negotiating in good faith and not bad faith, despite Israel's refusal to enter talks on the second phase and constant violations of the ceasefire since it went into effect on January 19th. Right, and Al Jazeera has reported that the Israeli gunfire killed a child in Rafah, right, and there were strikes on vehicles headed towards northern Gaza, attacks on bulldozers working to clear the rubble, and gunfire on civilians returning to attempt returning to their homes. So they broke the ceasefire, honestly, right, and they've killed more than 1,000 Palestinians. So I mean, this is just insane work from these guys. They're not stopping. The people, these guys are not stopping. The IDF is not stopping. Is that water? Yeah, some water. So we're seeing the Israel lobby in full display, full action. And people like to say, I see a lot of normies because Red Pill's going mainstream. A lot of people are like, oh, Jews did this, Jews did that. Sure, right? Fine, makes sense. But what they don't understand, right? What they fail to understand is that it's the opposite. Jews control the media, Jews control the banks, Jews control everything. It's actually the opposite. It's because they don't control it. That's why they spread their propaganda, and that's why they've gotten their side of their story out to the U.S. Faster, better, more efficiently than the Arab population, than the Arab organizations, APAC, ZOA. They've done a great job at getting their side of the story and portraying themselves as the moral high ground in this confrontation and altercation. They are victimizing themselves and putting the Arabs against the wall. They really did a very good job ever since the 1980s, 1990s. And that is why the media heavily is sided towards Israel. It's because they had gotten their side of the story out much better than the Arabs. That is the reason why they control it. It's not because they just spawned in with control. No, they came here and they have a lot of great connections. Ariel Sharon. This guy secretly lobbied Bush into invading Iraq. They've had amazing, efficient connections over the past decades, and that's how like the Arabs they barely have any connections, and if they do, they have organizations, but they're not as heavily funded as APAC, ZOA, ADL, and that's why they're put on the back burner, right? But now we're seeing a prevalence. We're seeing their side of the story come out, and we're seeing who's in the right. But for a long time, Israel has been portraying themselves to be the moral high ground in this fight, which is disturbing because I don't know how you guys didn't realize. I mean, I wasn't alive. I was born in 2005, but I mean, we've had people like Patrick J. Buchanan talk about this and being canceled. You've had people who went up against these lobbies and they've been canceled because of their censorship ability and their ability to mitigate backlash for not agreeing with Israel's foreign policy. That's what really got us. That's what they have us in a chokehold. Israel has us in a chokehold currently. And to break free, we need to come to the realization that they took it, and we need to reclaim. We need to reclaim our independence. Once we can reclaim our independence, we can start making change across the world. We can start helping the Palestinians. We can start helping people in need. But until then, I don't think anything's gonna change. Nothing ever happens. You guys know the meme, "Nothing ever happens, Chud." That's literally what's happening. So there's got to be change, right? So we're gonna talk about the Israeli ground raids in Syria, right? And they captured several locals. Um, Israeli ground troops have carried out multiple ground raids across southwestern Syria over the weekend, including overnight raids in Quintanilla Governarte. I think I'm saying that right. And it led to the capture of multiple suspects who have not been conclusively identified and appear to be simply local Syrians. And on Friday, Israeli troops attacked farmers near Jubata al-Khashab, the first opening on fire while they were actively farming their own land. They confiscated their tractor in the area because the tractor was trying to haul away trees within the area, which Israeli military bulldozers had recently knocked down. These Syrians were captured in that incident. And Israel has also been engaging in deforestation in Quintanilla in recent months. Farmers have been reported intermittently that has caused problems with groundwater. And it's difficult for them as Israeli ground troops to have seized control of many of the freshwater sources in the area, preventing irrigation. The Israeli officials also made much of the idea that they seized trafficked weapons in the operations given they raided 4 sites. The 4 that they released showed 3 actual weapons, some old ammunition boxes, clips, and one a green colored helmet. And they've been recently engaging with the Syrian government in de-escalation talks, though it does not appear to functionally matter within the southwest, where Israel grounded troops continue to operate with impunity in Syrian territory, and they like to use the justification of "we are going to defend the Druze" to inflict war, to inflict attacks. Israel invaded this part of Syria virtually immediately after the Assad government was ousted in December, right? al-Bashar al-Assad, right? 2024 December, that's when that regime was toppled. The invasion has continued to expand, and now reports are putting ground troops within 20 kilometers of the capital city, Damascus. Right. Though publicly, Israel tries to maintain the pretext that this incursion is purely defensive and in some vague way not permanent. Locals are seeing that in practice. Israel controls the area and can and will raid their towns and villages seemingly at will, searching homes, interrogating locals, and hauling some of them away on suspicion. Right. The goat preaches. Oh shit, Amber's watching. Let's go. Let's go. We got Amber, bro. You know what? Let me call. You want to come on the show? You can come on right now. Fine, you can come on right now. Here, let me call you. You can come on. You can talk. Let's go, bro. Answer the call, Brian. You can come on. Dude, answer. Answer the call. I'm calling you. Hey, so this guy's in the chat. Alright. So you're in the chat. Right, I called you, you're not answering. So it's either you just open the tab and you put a comment and you left. Or you don't want to come on. See, this guy, he put he put one comment and then I don't know, this guy probably left. He has it open on a tab. That's, you know when you have like a video open on a tab, this is what this guy did. Come on, bro. You can come on. You can come on. You can come on, Amber. I called you. I literally called you. Let's see. Bro's MIA. He's MIA. MIA, MIA. Hey man. Come on, bro. I called you. Why are you scared? You're backing out. Let's see. Let's see what they got on the New York Times, if they have anything. Oh, they've got something, okay. So we got Netanyahu 3 hours ago, right? He squanders his moment to halt the war. Israel's leader is now pushing for an all or nothing deal with Hamas, and he has not made compromises needed to make it happen. Netanyahu, the prime minister, he led a country to a military victory over Iran in June, right? Operation Rising Lion, and his allies and rivals portrayed it as his finest achievement. They want, with the growing starvation in Gaza, right? Many foreign governments have largely blamed Israel's 11-week blockade on the territory between March and May is at its peak, partly to the protest Israel's responsibility for that situation. Several of the country's long-standing allies have recognized the Palestinian state, such as France. We have, many European countries that have recognized the state, who know that the genocide is evil, it's inhumane, or pledged to do so in the near future. In the United States, most Democratic senators voted last week to block some arms sales to Israel as well. A Republican lawmaker, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has accused Israel of genocide, an accusation it strongly denies. Domestic opposition to Gaza war is at an all-time high, and calls are growing for the remaining hostages held by Hamas to be returned through a diplomatic deal. And Israel's ability to sustain the war amid growing fatigue among its military reservists is increasingly under question. After a rise in death by suicide of reserve soldiers, the military has set up a committee to investigate how to better support those leaving service. And the protection of Gaza of the conflict also reflects Trump's failure to capitalize on the leverage he accrued during the war with Iran. By joining Netanyahu's attacks, Mr. Trump gave Israel a symbolic victory, and without Trump, without the aid, they would not have won. These guys would have gotten their backs blown out. At the same time, analysts expected him to demand that Netanyahu repay the favor by drawing the Gaza war to a close, right? And Israeli soldiers have continued to shoot and kill civilians trying to access a deeply problematic food distribution system that forces people to cross war zones and military lines to reach distribution sites desperate for alternative sources of food. Large crowds of civilians continue to block and ransack aid convoys because these people cannot get food. So they have to they're really, really desperate. They're just trying to get anything they can. And while doing so, they're getting shot. A growing number of Israelis enter concerned, are either concerned for the hostages held by Hamas or about the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza, are both calling for an end to the war. On Monday, a group of former security chiefs, including 2 former army chiefs of staff, 3 former heads of Israel's domestic intelligence agency, right, they released a video that ended with the caption "End the war," but they are not trying to come to a ceasefire. They want a temporary ceasefire, but Hamas is not willing to surrender for a temporary ceasefire. They're willing to release the hostages, the captives, only if there's a permanent ceasefire. But this is what Netanyahu and the IDF refuses to do so. Right? Hamas will only stop if they can recognize Palestine as a state. And that's what Hamas fights for. Hamas does not fight to terrorize people. Hamas does not fight just to kill Israelis. They fight because they want sovereignty. They want Palestine to be a sovereign state. Right, and that's what a lot of people don't understand about Hamas. They think it's a terrorist organization, and in some way, I'm not saying that what they're doing is right, but they're fighting for their survival, and I think that's what every country should do. When your back is against the wall, it's fight or flight, and they're doing what they can. Right. Quote, "We will not be broken," Mr. Netanyahu said in a statement on Sunday after the footage was circulated online. Quote, "I am filled with an even stronger determination to free our kidnapped sons, to eliminate Hamas, and to ensure that Gaza no longer possesses a threat to the state of Israel." Right. But to his critics, these moves have bolstered the impression that Netanyahu has prioritized his own personal interests above his country's cohesion and his strategic goals. Compounding these frustrations, the government is pushing ahead with efforts to extend an exemption from military service for ultra-Orthodox Jewish Israelis whose leaders have long backed Mr. Netanyahu. And the government is also investing time and resources in firming the Attorney General who oversees Netanyahu's long-running prosecution for corruption. Netanyahu denies the corruption charges, and he has said his government efforts to overhaul the judicial system are unrelated to the trial. Right, and he's prioritizing himself before his country's interests. I mean, this is just, he's literally giving his country a really bad reputation among the world. Like, the world is viewing him as like a war criminal, and he doesn't care. He really doesn't care. And he has become what he has been afraid of. You know, Nazi Germany. He's become the villain. From being the victim to becoming the villain. His people. That's it's kind of like Anakin Skywalker, you know. And we're on their side, and we can't do anything. You know, our reputation is being ruined too, America. So I'm also mad at that. But yeah, if this guy's not gonna, I'm gonna try one more time. One more time. Yo, I'm live. I'm live right now. You're on speaker.
I'm speaking my answer, so
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you wanted to come on the show. That's fine.
I would. I can't right now. You can see my location.
Wait, where are you at?
Um, at Cypress College.
Oh, okay. All right, bye. So apparently this guy's, he's at Cypress College. He's speaking to his counselor. You know when you got to speak to the counselor to change your classes, and like, she's like, no, you can't take that class. It's like, let me take the class right now. Let me take the class. If you don't let me take the class, I'm gonna do something to you. All right, I need the units. You need the units. And I'm trying to transfer, so when you transfer to a UC, you have to be in a certain unit threshold. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm doing a unorthodox route because I changed my major. halfway in political science, but I'm transferring my last year, so I'm literally going to the college of the last year, getting the degree and getting out, and trying hopefully going to law school. So I'm like kind of finessing, but not really. But it's unorthodox. It's a unique way to transfer. Most people they transfer after 2 years, or they transfer after 1 year after attending a community college. But what I'm doing is different. But yeah, I mean that's it for today. We have talked about the story. It's just the usual ceasefire talks. Nothing's happening. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, U.S. moves F-16s closer to the North Korean border. Um, Washington is boosting their military presence on the Korean Peninsula by creating another super squadron near the demilitarized zone. This move follows North Korea saying it will only engage in talks with the U.S. if Washington drops its demand that the Pyongyang gives up its nuclear weapons. Um, okay. So this is similar to what he did with the naval ships. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's about it for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched, if you're watching the VOD, thank you too. Subscribe, like, you know the deal. I will be back tomorrow, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your last days before school starts, cause it's gonna be hell.